Part 1. The perfect face of the beloved, the eye and the lip. What is the nature of the eye and the lip? Let us consider. Coquettish and intoxicating glances shine from his eye. The essence of existence issues from his ruby lip. Hearts burn with desire because of his eye and are healed again by the smile of his lip. Because of his eye hearts are aching and drunken. His ruby lip gives soul garments to men. His eye does not perceive this visible world, yet often his lip quivers with compassion. Sometimes he charms us with a touch of humanity and gives help to the despairing. It is his smile that gives life to man's water and clay, it is his breath that opens heaven's gate for us. A corn-baited snare is each glance of that eye, and a wineshop lurks in each corner. When he frowns, the wide world is laid waste but is restored every moment by his kiss. Our blood is at fever point because of his eye, our souls demented because of his lip. How he has despoiled our hearts by a frown, how he has uplifted our souls by a smile. If you ask of him an embrace, his eye will say, yeah, his lip, nay. He finished the creation of the world by a frown, now and then the soul is revived by a kiss. We would give up our lives with despair at his frown, but would rise from the dead at his kiss. When the world meditates on his eye and his lip, it yields itself to the intoxication of wine. The mole, the single point of the mole in his cheek is a center from which circles a circumference. The two worlds circle round that center. The heart and soul of Adam evolved from there. Hearts bleed because they are a reflection of the point of that black mole, and both are stagnant, for there is no escape of the reflection from the reflect. Unity will not embrace plurality, for the point of unity has one root only. I wonder if his mole is the reflection of my heart, or my heart the reflection of his mole. Was my heart created from his mole's reflection, or may it be seen shining in his mole? I wonder if my heart is in his face, or if his mole abides in my heart. But this is a deep secret hidden, alas, from me. If my heart is a reflection, why is it ever so changing? Sometimes tired like his brilliant eye, sometimes waving to and fro as his curl waves, sometimes a shining moonbeam like his face, sometimes a dark shadow like his mole, sometimes it is a mosque, sometimes a synagogue, sometimes a hell, sometimes a heaven, sometimes soaring above the seventh heaven, sometimes buried far below this earth. After a spell the devotee and ascetic turns again to wine, lamp, and beauty. The curl. If you ask of me the long story of the beloved's curl, I cannot answer, for it contains a mystery which only true lovers understand, and they, maddened by its beauty, are held captive as by a golden chain. I spoke too openly of that graceful form, but the end of the curl told me to hide its glory, so that the path to it should be twisted and crooked and difficult. That curl enchains lovers' hearts and bears their souls to and fro in the sea of desire. 100,000 hearts are tightly bound, not one escapes, alas. No single infidel would remain in the world if he could see the shaking aside of those black curls, and on the earth there would not remain a faithful soul if they were always in their place. Suppose they were shorn. No matter, day would increase and the night disappear. As a spider spreads its nets to ensnare, so does the beloved in wantonness shake his locks from off his face. Behold his hands plundering reason's caravan, and with knots binding it tight. Never at rest is that curl, ever moving to and fro, making now night, making now morning, playing with the seasons in wonder. Adam was created when the perfume of that amber-scented curl was blown by the wind on his clay. And I too possess an ensample. I cannot wait for a moment, but breathlessly start working anew to tear my heart out of my breast. Sore troubled am I by that curl which veils my longing soul from his face. The cheek and the down, the theatre of divine beauty is the cheek, and the down is the entrance to his holy presence. Beauty is erased by his cheek, who says, without my presence you are non-existent. In the unseen world the down is as green meadows leading to the mansion of eternal life. The blackness of his curl turns day into night, the down of his cheek holds the secret of life. If only you can glimpse his face and its down, you will understand the meaning of plurality and unity. His curl will teach you the knowledge of this world, his down will reveal hidden paths. Imagine 7 verses in which each letter contains oceans of mysteries, such as his cheek. And imagine, hidden beneath each hair of his cheek, thousands of oceans of mysteries, such is his down. As the heart is God's throne in the water, so is the down the ornament of the soul. Part 2. Beauty, the marriage of the soul descending to the earth. That strange intoxicating beauty of the unseen world lurks in the elements of nature. And the soul of man, who has attained the rightful balance, becoming aware of this hidden joy, straightway is enamored and bewitched. And from this mystic marriage are born the poet's songs, inner knowledge, the language of the heart, virtuous living, and the fair child beauty. And the great soul gives to man as dowry the hidden glory of the world. The charm of beauty from the unseen world descends heavenly beauty and plants its flag in the city of earthly fairness, throwing the world's array into confusion, now riding the steed of comeliness, now flourishing the sword of eloquence, and all alike bow down, saints and kings, dervishes and prophets, swayed by the charm of beauty's fascination. Earthly beauty, whence the charm of a fair face, not earthly beauty only can so allure us with its loveliness. Perchance we see in this, as in a cloudy mirror, the far faint reflect of the perfect face. And these deep feelings of delight and wonder can only issue from the one true beauty, for in divine perfection there is no other partner. Nor is it all desire and lust that tempts men's hearts with longing. Evil appears but as the other side of truth. Part 3. The sea and its pearls. A drop of sea water. Behold how this drop of sea water has taken so many forms and names. It has existed as mist, cloud, rain, dew, and mud, then plant, animal, and perfect man, and yet it was a drop of water from which these things appeared. Even so this universe of reason, soul, heavens, and bodies was but a drop of water in its beginning and ending. When a wave strikes it, the world vanishes, and when the appointed time comes to heaven and stars, their being is lost in not being. The sea of being in being silver sea lustrous pearls of knowledge are washed upon the shore of speech, and dainty shells bring poems in their curving forms to strew the beach with beauty. Each wave that breaks in foaming arcs casts up 1,000 royal pearls that hold strange murmuring voices, gems of devotion, joy, and love. Yet though 1,000 waves at every moment rise and fall, scattering pearls and shells, yet are there ever more and more to come, nor is that sea of being less by one sheer drop. Pearls of knowledge in the sea of human, the pearl oysters rise to the surface from the lowest depths and wait with opened mouths. Then arises from the sea a mist, which falls again in raindrops into the mouths of the shells, at the command of the truth. Straightway is each closed as by 100 bonds, and the shells sink back again into the ocean's depths, bearing in their hearts the pearl drops which the divers seek and find. The sea is being, the shore the body, the mist, grace, and the rain, knowledge of the name. Human wisdom is the diver who holds enwrapped in his garment 100 pearls, the soul in a swift lightning's flash bears to the listening ear voices and messages from the shells of knowledge. Then when the husks are opened, behold the royal shimmering pearls. Part 4. The journey, the forsaking sea, your companions have gone, will you not too make a start? If you desire to take wing as a bird, then leave to the vultures this carrion world. Forsake your relations, for your real friend must be sought. He who is drowning in the sea of not being must cast aside all relationships. What are father and mother, sister and brother? Your very son may be your enemy, yet may a stranger be your kinsman. Even your fellow travelers on the mystic path must be renounced. All relations are a bond, a spell, a fairy dream, an absolute illusion. Omit not the duties of the law to them, but have regard to yourself. Abandon gold and women, for they are a source of anxiety. The traveler on the path, 'tis he who knows from whence he cometh, then doth he journey hastily, becoming as pure from self as fire from smoke. Unfolded to him are a series of revelations from the beginning, till he is led away from darkness and sin. He now retraces stage by stage his steps till he reaches his goal, the perfect. Thus is the perfect man evolved from the time he first exists as inorganic matter, next a breath of spirit, and he is living, and from God draws his motive powers. Next the truth makes him lord of his will, as in childhood his discernment of the world unfolds. And now the world's temptations assail him. Anger appears and desires of the flesh, and then avarice, pride, and gluttony. His nature becomes evil, worse than an animal or demon. now is he at the lowest point of all, the point opposite to unity. Should he remain fettered in this snare, he goes further astray than the beasts, but if there shines a light from the spirit world divinely attractive, or if he can find a reflection of proof, then will his heart respond in a feeling of kinship to this light of the truth, and he will turn back and retrace his steps from whence he came. To faith assured he has found his way through certain proof, or the wonder and attraction of the divine. He throws away his selfhood utterly and ascends in the steps of the most pure. Exhortation: though the world is yours, you remain dejected, who so pitiable as you? You, who are a man, arise and pass on, wait not day or night at the halting stages, tarry not behind your fellow travelers in the caravans. The 2 steps of the journey of the pilgrims is 2 steps and no more, one is the passing out of selfhood and one towards mystical union with the friend. Fear as the Arab racer needs not the whip, so you will not need to fear when on your journey you have started. When purified are your soul and body, you will not fear the fires of hell. Throw pure gold into the fire, if it contains no alloy, what is there to burn? Logic: if God guides you not into the road, it will not be disclosed by logic. Logic is a bondage of forms, a road that is long and hard. Leave it for a season. Like Moses cast away that staff and enter for a while, the valley of peace. The infant and the youth: the young infant in the cradle stays at his mother's side, but when he is grown manly he goes forth with his father. So you remain with your mother, the fleshly elements, until you join your father up on high. The almond tree as the kernel of an almond is spoilt utterly if it is plucked from its husk while unripe, so error in the path of the pilgrim spoils the kernel of his soul. When the knower is divinely illumined, the kernel ripens, bursts the husk and departs, returning no more. But another retains the husk, though shining as a bright sun, and makes another circuit. From water and earth springs up into a tree, whose high branches are lifted up to heaven, then from the seed of this tree 100-fold are brought forth. Like the growth of a seed into the line of a tree, from point comes a line, then a circle. When the circuit of this circle is complete, then the last is joined to the first. Intermingling you are plurality transformed into unity, and unity passing into plurality. This mystery is understood when man leaves the part and merges in the whole. Part 5. Time and this dream world. Time: the past has flown away, the coming month and year do not exist, ours only is the present's tiny point. Time is but a fancy ever moving on which you have called a flowing river stream. I am alone in a wide desert listening to the echo of strange noises. The dream of life: you have heard much of this world, yet what have you seen of this world? What is its form and substance? What is Simurg, and what is Mount Kaf? What is Hades and what is heaven and hell? What is that unseen world? A day of which equals a year of this. Come and hear the meaning. You are asleep, and your vision is a dream, all you are seeing is a mirage. When you wake up on the morn of the last day you will know all this to be fancy's illusion. When you have ceased to see double, earth and heaven will become transformed. When the real sun unveils his face to you, the moon, the stars, and Venus will disappear. If a ray shines on the hard rock like wool of many colors, it drops to pieces. The phenomenal world: the world is an imaginary figure, a diffused shadow of the infinite. One breath created the worlds of command and all living things. As they appear to come forth, so they appear to go. Though there is no real coming and going. For what is going but coming? All are one, both the visible and the invisible. God Most High, the Eternal One, creates and destroys both worlds. The varied forms you see are but phantoms of your fancy, and by revolving quickly in a circle appear as one. The real and the unreal: the imagination produces phenomenal objects which have no real existence, so this world has no substantial reality but exists as a shadowy pageant or a play. All is pervaded by absolute being in its utter perfection. There are many numbers, but only one is counted. This world a mirage: the house is left empty, save for the truth, for in a moment the world has passed away, then you, rid of self, fly upwards and are united to the Beloved. Union is yours when this dream world fades and dies away. Part 6. Reflections, sun reflections from the unseen world are all the objects of this mortal sphere as curl, down, mole, and brow on a fair face. For beauty absolute reigns over all. When the ears first hear these words they seem to denote sensual objects. But as there is no language for the infinite, how can we express its mysteries in finite words, or how can the visions of the ecstatic be described in earthly formula? So mystics veil their meanings in these shadows of the unseen, the objects of the senses. As a nurse to an infant, so is the infinite to the finite. Once these words were used in their proper sense, but now are concealed lest the vulgar should profane. Annihilation, intoxication, the fever of love are the three states of the mystic, and those who abide in these states at once comprehend the meanings veiled in the words. But if you know them not, pretend not you understand like an ignorant infidel, for all cannot be mystics or grasp the mysteries. No mere illusions are the mystic's dreams, and a man of truth does not vainly talk. To comprehend requires revelations or great faith. Briefly have I explained these words and their meaning so that you may apply them in their right intent, remembering the attributes of each. Compare them in a right manner and refrain from the wrong comparisons. Now that these rules are understood, I will show you more of their application. The mirror, your eye has not strength enough to gaze at the burning sun, but you can see its brilliant light by watching its reflection mirrored in the water. So the reflection of absolute being can be viewed in this mirror of not being, for non-existence, being opposite reality, instantly catches its reflection. Know the world from end to end is a mirror, in each atom 100 suns are concealed. If you pierce the heart of a single drop of water, from it will flow 100 clear oceans. If you look intently at each speck of dust, in it you will see 1,000 beings. A gnat in its limbs is like an elephant. In name a drop of water resembles the Nile. In the heart of a barley corn is stored 100 harvests. Within a millet seed a world exists. In an insect's wing is an ocean of life. A heaven is concealed in the pupil of an eye. The core in the center of the heart is small, yet the Lord of both worlds will enter there. Evil blacken the back of a mirror and it will reflect your face, so the dust of the earth reflects the rays of the sun in the seventh heaven. The reflection in the mirror, hold up a mirror before you and gaze on that other person. Again look and consider, your proper self is here, not there. What, then, can be this reflection, this shadow of your face? In the same way as light and dark are not connected, being is not joined to not being. Part 7. Divine inebriation. Tavern haunters. The tavern is the abode of lovers, the place where the bird of the soul nests, the rest house that has no existence in a world that has no form. The tavern haunter is desolate in a lonely desert where he sees the world as a mirage. The desert is limitless and endless, for no man has seen its beginning or ending. Though you feverishly wander for 100 years, you will be always alone. For the dwellers there are headless and footless, neither the faithful nor infidels. They have renounced both good and evil and have cast away name and fame from drinking the cup of selflessness, without lips or mouth, and are beyond traditions, visions, and states, beyond dreaming of secret rooms, of lights and miracles. They are lying drunken through the smell of the wine-dregs and have given as ransom pilgrims staff and cruse, dentifrice and rosary. Sometimes rising to the world of bliss with necks exalted as racers, or with blackened faces turned to the wall, sometimes with reddened faces tied to the stake. Now in the mystic dance of joy in the beloved, losing head and foot like the revolving heavens. In every strain which they hear from the minstrel comes to them rapture from the unseen world. For within the mere words and sounds of the mystic song lies a precious mystery. From drinking one cup of the pure wine, from sweeping the dust of dunghills from their souls, from grasping the skirts of drunkards, they have become Sufis. The wine of rapture, the wine, lit by a ray from his face, reveals the bubbles of form, such as the material world and the soul world, which appear as veils to the saints. Universal reason, seeing this, is astounded. Universal soul is reduced to servitude. Drink wine. For the bowl is the face of the friend. Drink wine. For the cup is his eye, drunken and flown with wine. Drink wine. And be free from heart coldness, for a drunkard is better than the self-satisfied. The whole world is his tavern, his wine cup the heart of each atom. Reason is drunken, angels drunken, soul drunken, air drunken, earth drunken, heaven drunken. The sky, dizzy from the wine fumes' aroma, is staggering to and fro. The angels, sipping pure wine from goblets, pour down the dregs on the world. From the scent of these dregs man rises to heaven. Inebriated from the draught, the elements fall into water and fire. Catching the reflection, the frail body becomes a soul, and the frozen soul by its heat thaws and becomes living. The creature world remains giddy, forever straying from house and home. One from the dregs' odor becomes a philosopher, one viewing the wine's color becomes a relator, one from half a draught becomes religious, one from a bowlful becomes a lover, another swallows at one draught goblet, tavern, cupbearer, and drunkards. He swallows all, but still his mouth stays open. Wine, torch, and beauty. Truth's manifestations are wine, torch, and beauty. Wine and torch are the light and shining of the knower, beauty is concealed from none. Wine is the lampshade and torch the lamp, beauty is the spirit light so bright, it kindles sparks in the heart. Wine and torch are the essence of that blinding light, beauty is the sign of the divine. Drink this wine and, dying to self, you will be freed from the spell of self. Then will your being, as a drop, fall into the ocean of the eternal. Intoxication. What is pure wine? It is self-purification. What sweetness! What intoxication! What blissful ecstasy! Oh! Happy moment when ourselves we quit, when fallen in the dust, drunken and amazed, in utter poverty we shall be rich and free. Of what use then will be paradise and houris, for no alien can find entrance to that mystic room. I know not what will happen after I have seen this vision and imbibed this cup, but after all intoxication comes headache, anguish drowns my soul remembering this. Part 8. Reason and free will. Reason, let reason go. For his light burns reason up from head to foot. If you wish to see that face, seek another eye. The philosopher with his 2 eyes sees double, so is unable to see the unity of the truth. As his light burns up the angels, even so doth it consume reason. As the light of our eyes to the sun, so is the light of reason to the light of lights. Knowledge learning is only the outer wrapping of the letter, the dry husk that covers the nut, not the kernel concealed within, yet must the husk exist to ripen the kernel. So from learning comes the sweet knowledge of faith. Oh! Soul of my brother, hearken, strive to gain knowledge of faith, for the knower, in both worlds has a high place. Knowledge loves not this world of form which is void of reality. Begin to till your field for next year's harvest. Knowledge is your heritage, be adorned with the principle of all virtues. The blindness of reason, as the man blind from his birth believes not nor understands your description of colors, even if you show him proofs for a century, so blind reason cannot see the future state. But beyond reason man has a certain knowledge which God has placed in his soul and body whereby he perceives hidden mysteries. And like the fire in flint and steel, when these are struck together, the 2 worlds for him are lit up in a flash. Free will, you say, I myself have free will, for my body is the horse and my soul the rider, the reins of the body are in the hands of the soul, the entire direction is given to me. Oh! Foolish one, these are falsehoods and delusions that come from an illusory existence. As your essence is nothingness, how can you have free will, seeing that your being is one with not being? Whence comes this free will of yours? Imagination distributes actions as in a play or a farce, for when your actions were planned, before your existence, you were created for a certain purpose, by the desire of the truth. Therefore is man predestined, before his existence, to certain appointed work. Oh, wondrous ways of thine, without how or why. The honor of man consists of slavery, in having no share of free will. Of himself man has nothing, yet of good and evil God asks him. Man has no choice, he is under control. Oh! Poor soul, he seems free, yet is a slave. Give yourself up to the truth, for you are helpless in his grasp. Freedom from self you will find in the all, and, O dervish! In the truth you will find riches. Part 9. Man, his capabilities and his destiny to the SFS you are bound by accord to the soul of the creatures before you, therefore they are subject to your dominion and the soul of each is hidden in you. In the midst of the world you are the kernel, the center of the world. The world of reason and mind is your fortune, earth and heavens your garments. Your natural powers are 10,000 transcending limits and reckonings. I and you are but the lattices in the niches of a lamp through which the one light shines. I and you are the veil between heaven and earth. Lift this veil and you will see no longer the bond of sects and creeds. When I and you do not exist, what is mosque, what is synagogue, what is the temple of fire? Reflected forms of habit repeat an action several times and you master it. Habit makes dispositions as fruits become ripe by time. By practice man learns a trade, by habit he collects his thoughts. Remember, at the last day all your habits and actions will be clearly seen, for the garment of the body will be stripped. And the form left will reflect your vices and virtues as objects are reflected in pure water. Again, your dispositions will be embodied, made manifest as lights and fires, for all phenomenal limitations will be removed. You who are pure from earthly form illumined by the truth will appear all heart from your stainless love. Then will you be possessed by intoxication, scattering in confusion the two worlds. The lowest necessary, if there were no sweepers in the world would be buried in dust. A faithful servant to become a faithful servant, cultivate faith and sincerity, renew your belief every instant while unbelief dwells in your heart. Abandon the wish to be seen of men, cast off the blue-patched robe of the dervish and bind on the Magian girdle. Be a believer, be a believer, be a believer. Far and near, if he sheds his light on you, you become near to him and far from your own existence. For by nearness to him you become far from yourself. What profit is there to you in your non-existent existence? The sage virtue and equity, courage and temperance are the four qualities of the sage. He is not overcunning or a fool, his appetites are under control, from cringing and boasting he is free, and from foolhardiness and cowardice. All virtues lie between excess and defect, a narrow path betwixt hell's bottomless abyss, fine and sharp as a sword blade which permits no lingering or turning round. Equipoise is the summit of perfection, becoming like a simple essence. As the rays of the sun shine upon the earth, so the light from the spirit world shines brightly on him who has attained this equilibrium. The prophet and the saint, the prophet, resplendent in his perfection, is as the sun's bright light, and the saint, concealing his saintship, is as the subdued light of the moon. By fellowship, the saint is intimate with the prophet, and finding entrance to that secret chamber, he loves and is beloved by the truth. The first and the last, the two worlds produced the soul of Adam, which, though first in thought, was created last. In man's self is disclosed the final cause, for there is none beyond him. O first, who are also the substance of the last, O hidden, who are also the essence of the manifest, you, who day and night are wondering about yourself, think of self no more, for the end of such thought is confusion. Annihilation of phenomena, the heavens and the stars at the appointed time will disappear. A wave will strike the earth and lo! It vanishes. Only the truth will remain unchangeable. And you at that moment, passing from this dream life with self discarded, will be one with the beloved. Oh! Master, ponder on your coming and your going and the thousand existences that lie before you. The written faith, read the writing on your heart and you will understand whatever you desire, for on the day he kneaded the clay, he wrote on your heart, by grace, the faith. The perfect man, in spite of his inheritance, the perfect man is a slave and does the work of a slave. The law is his outer garment, though his inner is the mystic path. He is famed for knowledge and devotion, but he is far from all these, for he is absorbed in the contemplation of the One. When his pilgrimage is over he receives the crown of caliphate. Part 10. The One. The name each creature has its being from the one name from which it comes forth and to which it returns with praises unending. The beloved guest, cast away your existence entirely, for it is not but weeds, and refuse. Go, clear out your heart's chamber, arrange it as the abiding place of the beloved. When you go forth, he will come in, and to you, with self discarded, he will unveil his beauty. The shadowless on the narrow path of truth, on the meridian line, he stands upright, throwing no shadow before or behind him, to the right hand or the left. East and west is his Qibla cast, drowned in a blaze of radiant light. Hail, O light of God, O shadowless divinity! The unknowable ponder on God's mercies but not on his essence. For his works come forth from his essence, not his essence from his works. His light shines on the whole universe, yet he himself is hidden from the universe. The book of God, the universe is God's book, and he to whom the vision of the divine has been vouchsafed reads therein and understands. Substance is its consonants and accidents its vowels, and different creatures are its signs and pauses. The first verse is universal reason, the second universal soul, the verse of light, and this is as a brightly shining lamp. The third is the highest heavens, the fourth, the throne. After there are 7 transcendent spheres, the chapter of the 7 limbs, and forms of the 4 elements, then nature's 3 kingdoms whose verses none can count. And last of all came down the soul of man. The unchanging light you fancy this world is permanent of itself and endures because of its own nature, but really it is a ray of light from the truth, and within it the truth is concealed. And this light alters not nor varies and is void of change or degree. If the sun tarried always in one spot and ever shone in the same degree, none would know that the light comes from him. Future reward ponder here and now on his qualities, that you may behold him himself tomorrow. Part 11. The self, the gamble of the self. Real prayer can only be yours when you have staked and gambled yourself away and your essence is pure. Then, a joy of the eyes, are your prayers, and no separation remains, for knower and known are one and the same. Transcend self, rise above time and space, pass by the world, and be to yourself your own world. Selflessness I and the empty heart, void of self can be heard the echoing cry, I am the truth. Thus is man one with the eternal, traveling, travel and traveler have become one. Part 12. Idols, girdles, and Christianity. Are you still turning to great and small, pondering on religion and piety, teachership and discipleship, which mean hypocrisy and bondage? Then idols and girdles and Christianity are still yours. Idols, the idol's real being is not vain because God created it and all things from him are good. Being is pure good, if it contains evil that comes from other. Truth is idol worship if the Mussulman only knew, but he sees in idols only the visible creature, not the truth hidden in the idol. Idol worship is unification, since all things are the symbols of being. By counting beads, repeating prayers, and reading the Quran, the heathen becomes not a Mussulman. The man to whom true infidelity becomes revealed with pretended faith becomes disgusted. Within every body a soul is hidden, and true faith conceals infidelity. Who adorned the face of the idol with such beauty, and who becomes an idol worshipper unless God wills it? In all things see but one, say one, no one, the girdle, the mark of service is the knotted girdle. So gird your loins, like a valiant man with manliness. Cast aside vain tales and mystic states and visions, dream not of lights, of marvels, of miracles, for your miracles are contained in worshipping the truth, all else is pride, conceit and illusion of existence. Christianity, I see the desire of Christianity is purification from self and liberty from bondage. There is a sanctuary of the soul, the blessed portal of unity, the nest of the eternal. God's Spirit, Jesus, who proceeds from the Blessed Spirit, taught this doctrine. In you is placed a soul which is a sample of this Blessed Spirit. Find release from humanity's carnal desire and you will enter the divine life. And he who is pure as the angels are will be carried up to the 4th heaven. The mosque and the cloister, if other and others are before your eyes, then a mosque is no better than a Christian cloister, but when the garment of other is cast off by you, the cloister becomes a mosque. Part 13. Thought circles behold the world mingled together, angels with demons, Satan with the archangel. All mingled like seed and fruit, infidel with faithful, and faithful with infidel. At the point of the present are gathered all cycles and seasons, day, month, and year. World at beginning is world without end. 6. From every point in this circle 1,000 forms are drawn, every point as it revolves in a circle is now a circle, now a circling circumference. Death occurs to man in 3 ways, first he dies every moment by his earthly nature, then, when his will perishes, he dies again, and lastly at the separation of soul and body. The heavens let not the prison of nature detain you but come forth and view the art of the divine, contemplate the appearance of the heavens so that praise and wonder for the truth will be thine. The arch of the high heavens enclosing both worlds is called the throne of the merciful, and like the heart of man is ever moving, never resting for a moment. Perchance man's heart is the central point and heaven the circumference. Within a day and a night heaven outspans your circuits, O dervish. The other heavenly spheres are circling too, remember they all move in one direction from east to west like a water wheel rushing on without food or sleep. When the astrologer is an unbeliever, he sees not that these circulating lights of heaven are dominated and controlled by the truth. And O complete happiness here, whom have you seen in the whole world who ever once acquired pleasure without pain, who, in attaining all his desires, has remained at his height of perfection? The atoms take one atom away from its place and the whole world will fall to pieces. The world is whirling dizzily, yet no one part moves from the limit of its place. Each atom, held in bondage, despairs at its separation from the whole, so though imprisoned, yet moves, though unclothed, yet is clothed again, though at rest, yet is always wandering, never beginning and never ending, each possessing self-knowledge, and so hurrying towards the throne on high. Each atom hides beneath its veil the sole amazing beauty of the beloved's face. The praise of the atoms continually dwelling in all mystic lore, continually singing the song of praise, the atoms of the world will seem to you drunken and heavy with wine. When you have carded self like the wool carder, you will raise a cry. Oh! Take the cotton of illusion from your ears and hearken to the call of the One, the Almighty. Why tarry till the last day when now, in the valley of peace, the very bush will say to you, I am Allah. Thinking is passing from the false to the true and seeing the absolute whole in the part. When the idea enters the mind, it is a reminiscence of a former state and passes on to interpretation. He who sees by illumination discerns God first in everything, but he who sees by logic only and seeks to prove the necessary, is bewildered and sometimes travels backward in a circle, or is imprisoned in a chain of proofs. Fool! He seeks the dazzling sun by the dim light of a candle in the desert. Thoughts on creation. The heavens revolve day and night like a potter's wheel, and every moment the master's wisdom creates a new vessel. For all that exists comes from one hand, one workshop. Why do the stars set, going from perfection to defection? Why do they change position, place, circuit, color, and form? Or why is heaven fretted by fire always whirling through desire? Why are the planets revolving, above or beneath the earth, the elements which are below the heavens served in their appointed place ever united together? From them is born the threefold kingdom of nature, minerals, then plants and animals waiting in their places as he wills. Minerals, low in the dust, plants standing upright, animals, by their natural passions, preserving, continuing their races and species. All, bowing to their master's commands, fulfill his will day and night. Part 14. The light manifest, the light which is manifest leads all hearts captive, now as the minstrel, now as the cupbearer. What a singer is he who, by one strain of sweet melody, burns the harvests of 100 devotees. What a cupbearer is he who, by a single goblet, inebriates 260. Entering the mosque at dawn, he leaves there no wakeful man. Entering the cloister at night, he makes a fable of Sufis' tales. Entering the college veiled as a drunkard, the professor becomes hopelessly drunken. Devotees go mad for love of him and become outcasts from house and home. He makes one faithful, another an infidel, disturbing the world. Taverns have been glorified by his lips, mosques have become shining by his cheek. All I desire I have found in him, gaining deliverance from self. My heart was ignorant of itself, veiled from him by 100 veils of vanity, conceit, and illusion. The visit one day at the dawn, the fair idol entered my door and woke me from my sleep of slothful ignorance. The secret chamber of my soul was illumined by his face, and my being was revealed to main its true light. I heaved a sigh of wonder when I saw that fair face. He spoke to me, saying, all thy life thou hast sought name and fame, this self-seeking of thine is an illusion, keeping thee back from me. To glance at my face for an instant is worth 1,000 years of devotion. Yes, the face of that world adorner was shown unveiled before mine eyes, my soul was darkened with shame to remember my lost life, my wasted days. The gift then that moon whose face shone like the sun, seeing I had cast hope away, filled a goblet of divine knowledge and, passing to me, bade me drink, saying, with this wine tasteless and odorless, wash away the writing on thy being's tablet. The effect of the draught intoxicated from the pure draught which I had drained to the dregs, in the bare dust I fell. Since then I know not if I exist or not, but I am not sober, neither am I ill or drunken. Sometimes, like his eye, I am full of joy, or, like his curl, I am waving, sometimes, alas. From habit or nature I am lying on a dust heap. Sometimes, at a glance from him, I am back in the rose garden.